So you were the one who brought in the products, the CO Bigelow products,
the beauty line.
the beauty line,
Well, it was that came over time. Basically, what happened in 1985, although you had chain drugstores everywhere in the country, New York City was never really a chain place, but the chains were beginning to come. You had Genovese and Rite Aid. And my father and his friends used to get together and they said, we're going to fight these chains, and they would get together weekly and they would think about, they would run circulars and they would think about how much the Bic lighters were going to be in the circular the following week. And I walked out, I came out of school and I go, just kill me. This is not the life I want for myself. And I said, you know what? At that time, we were about 140 years old. I said, listen, we're 140 years old. We have something everybody else doesn't have. I'm always one like, when everybody's going one way, I'm going to go the other way. Mm-hmm. So I said, the chains are going to have 8,000 stores one day, and you're not going to compete with that anyway. They're going to laugh at you. So what I did notice was that the chains were turning the pharmacy business into a commodity business, just an empty box business.
Right.
And taking all the heart and soul out of it. And I said, the people don't want this to happen. So why don't we focus on doing, on being what people want you to be, and let them all run and chase themselves. And so the first thing I did when I got here was just focused on what happens when you walk in the door. How can we disrupt that experience? And make it something more emotional. And so I worked on this staff, what happens when they walk in, how they feel when they're there. I was fascinated by European pharmacies because, the pharmacist is held in a super high regard still in Europe, in France, in England, and Italy. I started importing products from Europe. Just little things here and there. In those days, it's funny how technology has changed. There was no fax machine. There was no internet. There was no nothing. I literally would go and stay in a hotel. I'd rip out pages from the yellow pages. You couldn't call because that was a very expensive European phone call, and they didn't speak English. So you would use telexes, and I would telex back and forth. And I started ordering products from Europe. And all of a sudden, we got this reputation for having some really interesting, cool things. And it created a place where people wanted to go and wanted to discover. And that was kind of the beginning. And then that evolved into a catalog. All of a sudden, people started calling us on the phone. We didn't know what to do with them, so we developed a catalog. Our first catalog was like a J. Peterman kind of thing where I would write down, I was in Paris and I had a cold and I went to the local pharmacy and I found these lozenges, and I would write about it like J. Peterman would.
Nice.
And then
You're blogging.
That evolved into a full color catalog, and then went on from there.
So what about the CO Bigelow branded products?
Well, so we always had some, and in addition to all of this, we have a warehouse full of history. We have books, bottles, photographs, some of the things you see behind me. I have everything, you name it, recipe books, old prescription books. I have hundreds of them. And I knew that there was something there that we could really do. So, there was a brand there. But I needed to work on the branding first. I needed to make sure we put Bigelow in the right position. So the short of it is back in 2003, I got approached by the new CEO of Bath & Body Works. They were on a mission to kind of change the trajectory of the business. And he said, we want to, I have this vision for Bath & Body Works. We want to create a destination for these great brands. We love your brand. We think it's amazing. It's got authenticity. I said, well, that's funny. I got a whole plan right here. I know exactly what I want to do. I'm just waiting for a partner. And I said, but I had a couple criteria. I said, I've been down this road before, and I had a couple of things I need. And it took us a little while to figure it out. But back in 2003, we partnered up in October of 2003. And we created this partnership where they gave me, I was part of this team. They gave me all the resources, product developers, marketers, designers, creative. And we went to work and created, and really we had some stuff, but then we just went to town and started going through the archives and creating this. And that's how it started.
So how's that? I think last time we talked to you, you were doing a lot of stuff in Japan, right?
Yes.
So how is all that going?
So we have a pretty robust hotel amenity business globally in all the continents: China, Japan, Middle East, Africa, the U.S., Europe. But
yeah,
of course,
I used to see your products at Cosmopolitan in Vegas.
Correct. Correct. I don't think we're there now, but we were there for a lot of years from the minute they launched.
Yeah.
So we have a pretty robust business, but of course, COVID has done away with that. and hopefully a little bit it's starting to come back now. But we do sell our products internationally, and one of our biggest markets, or one of the biggest markets, is Japan. So we have kind of a shop in shop in a famous department store in Osaka called Hankyu, and then we also sell in stores all over Tokyo.
Oh, wow.
We don't have too many American things left, and kind of the American Apothecary is an institution, and it's there's despite what some people may think, American heritage is really interesting to people, and so it resonates, and it hits people emotionally, both in China, in Japan, in Europe, in the UK. So yeah.
You said going back into the archives when you were talking about it. So are you saying the stuff that the Bigelow brand products that are out there are formulations out of a book, out of a stack of
actually
something from way back when?
So the last time one of the times I was there to visit you, you showed me, and it was just like so cool because I geek out on this history stuff. Like the books behind him, that's like recipes of compounds, like even for like you said the simple mouthwash. You said, I think the thing that you told me that I was like, that's really cool fact, was that y'all would compound something, and if a doctor or somebody came in and goes, yeah, I really like this recipe, then y'all go, great, that's Dr. Jake's mouthwash.
Yeah. So it's we have hundreds of prescription books that go back through the years, right? And in those books are all these, everything. It's funny. People ask me today, they'll go to me, are you a compounding pharmacist?
Yeah.
And I want to laugh at them and go, well, for the first 130 years, that's all we did.
Right.
Right. And we, so we have all the prescription books that go back to the 1800s. But our biggest treasure, we have recipe books. And so exactly as Marsha said, it's, even to this day, we'll compound something from Marsha, right? And compounding is like cooking. We know what the ingredients are, but each of us will do it slightly differently. It's like cooking, you'll all make a lasagna a different way. Mm-hmm. So Marsha may come to me and she'll say, hey, I really like that lotion you made for me last month, but I liked it better when I got it 2 months ago. And so what we'll do is we'll have the pharmacist record it exactly as they made it. And so this time Marsha will get it the same way every time. And sometimes we'll record it as Marsha's lotion. If it's a doctor who writes it a lot, sometimes we'll record it as the doctor's name. And sometimes we'll just call it what it is. So we have these formula books that Marsha was referencing, where we have all these recipes that go back over 100 and something years. Some are named after patients, Mrs. Jones's, whatever. Some are named after doctors, like the mouthwash, and some are just named what they are, like our lemon body cream. Some of our products are called formularies, and they're actually formulas that we ripped out of our recipe books as close as we could get. Some of our products are inspired by old products. So, for instance, before we had chemical surfactants, we made lots of cleansers with emulsified oils. So we make a bunch of cleansers that are surfactant free, that use emulsified oils, that are inspired by recipes. And some are kind of new things that we just do for fun.
Yeah, it was like a really like I could see this eventually going to the Smithsonian, because it was just that cool to see. I mean, it's like pharmacy history.
I use the lemon body wash.
Oh yeah, he likes the lemon.
I think it's body wash. Sorry,
it's
not to get weird on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, we make this lemon body cream that goes back to 1870, and we make it almost as close as we can to the original, and that's probably one of our better selling products.